Let's find out if it is what it looks like.
Yeah.
And so we start the review process. What is this? Where does it go? Is this just something that will fade away? Is it like a new fad of blue jeans or like chia pets or whatever, or could it be actually something different called a new industry, multi-trillion dollar industry, according to Jennifer Billick of the 11th Hour. If you start getting big money involved, now you're dealing with people that are going to make a profit and a significant profit. Do you think they're going to allow this to fade away? No, when there's money involved. So there's financial incentive and then sexual deviant incentive in this. Unfortunately, it's the kids that have skin in the game. So you have a whole lot of, there we go. So what you have with the DSM, we're just going to go through these. This is from, over in England, okay? Or in Melbourne as well. Okay, and that's the French. This is out of France. Bernard Lane's a very good investigative reporter. And so Royal Children's Hospital Clinic. Okay, now look at the numbers. So people need to understand this because we've heard the term trans for about 20 years now. And people, if you ask people, are there trans people? Everybody say, of course they're trans people. That's because they're not thinking, because they don't know really what's behind this. But I can assure people this, that prior to the year 2005, look in the graph.
Mm-hmm.
How do I know? Because I had, I let go of the group home I had started, as it were, and then transitioned to working at the Pennsylvania Department of Corrections on psych staff in 2005. We dealt with the worst of the worst kind of cases as far as step up, step down from psych hospitals for teen girls. If you want to find out anything true, you work with teen girls, you're going to find out what's true about youth culture, you're going to find out what's true about what they're going through, and you're going to find out about yourself. They have no filter. They'll tell you whether they like you or not. You're full of stuff. Okay. So I can assure you, I graduated with a master's degree from Cal State Fullerton in 1992. Okay. So from 1992, me and my colleagues, all the way to 2005 in the literature, do you know how many references to trans there were in any grad school, any theorists? I'll give you a hint. Go back from 2005. How flatline do you think that number is if we go back to the 1800s? If we pan the camera back on this stat, the first time it bumps is about 2008. The rest of the, if you go back in time, it's zero, folks. Zero. I want people to see, again, look at the year 2013, and now you're going to find the culprit. Okay. So with all of these graphs, I want you to keep your eye on the year 2013. You have two bumps. The first little bump was 2009. One of these slides is going to show you what happened in 2009. So we have to take note of, okay, in any rate of referrals, okay, a trend is a trend. This is a tidal wave.
So this is the diagnosing mental disorders,
right? The DSM changed, and it changed from gender identity disorder to dysphoria, and it shifted from kids to teens. This allowed for billing to take place. Suddenly we have monetary incentive. What I tell people is this, right? If you don't believe me, okay, every person that deals with trans people, don't bill for transgender services anymore. Donate your time. Watch what happens to the trans movement. You remove porn and monetary incentive and it goes away. Now, what you have, interestingly, on the right, people say, oh, you're reading into it. Okay, you explain it. Interesting.
Make it make sense, right?
I know what makes sense of this. It just, you're right. Interesting parallel. It must be coincidence, really. And you want me to buy a bridge to where? You've got some swampland you're going to sell me? Okay, when it's so dramatic, okay, if it's not this, then you tell me why the year 2013, we have a lot of skyrocketing of stuff going on. Couldn't be that at a higher level, somebody's been planning some stuff to do what? To shift a culture, to make kids, what do each of these having, like fentanyl? My guess is if we look at other drugs, we're going to see an uptick. We're probably going to be able to see in the year 2013 a whole lot of upticks, a lot of stuff. Why? Because people have a vested interest. If you have nefarious motives. Okay, so here's another thing. Now, would plastic surgeons have a vested interest? Oh, this represents dollars, doesn't it? Is this a natural occurring trend? Or is this the result of a brilliant marketing plan? Now the question is, what happened in 2016? That's a good question, but something happened. We could probably go through. There's a couple other slides we'll see. But when you see a dramatic increase, you better start to think a little bit deeply. Where did it come from? Oh, do we see something about 2016 right in there? If I get closer, but probably, yep, right about there. Over on the right, we see what program was launched? I Am Jazz. So we have Sex Change Hospital. I have to admit, I don't know the program, but okay, so What age are we talking? Younger than we would permit them to smoke? Meaning, would we go for the same logic when it came to cigarettes and alcohol and firearms for kids? No, we'd say, how dare you as a parent? Or how about this? Tattoos or piercing for earrings. But that's just a little piercing. Okay, we're not talking you're going to affect the endocrine system, bone density, what's going on in the brain in human development, let alone psychological and emotional development. So we care more about what age a kid is going to smoke or get their ears pierced, and we do this. This has lifelong implications. That's a schizophrenic approach. Why are we doing that? I'll tell you why. Because there's big money involved. And we say nobody would do that. That's because you think better of human nature. It couldn't be the human heart. It couldn't be the fact that people would actually try to upsell you on things that you really don't need. So if you walk onto a car lot, all those gentlemen or the salespeople, they're fine, or women, they're fine, upstanding people. They don't view you as a dollar sign, do they? Oh, they're financially objectifying. Of course, they're smiling at you. They want you to be fully satisfied. We'll make the payments work for you. And we actually then have a positive experience, and we'll give them a 5 out of 5 rating. Meanwhile, they took us to the cleaners. But we're saying, we understand that. But could it be that whether car sales or surgery, certainly a surgeon would never look at here again. See, look at the uptick, 2009 and then 2013. Now, Fenway, is this Fenway? I forget if we've got one in here. So these are all the rates. Somebody can look these up themselves. There's another one. So annual referral rates, I forget exactly where this one is, but do a Google search or an internet search. All these came from, these are just screenshots. Anybody can do these themselves. Now here's Fenway. Fenway Health System is in Boston. I added the blue lines because the chart I saw ended in 2013. Well, I got the most recent numbers from them.
Wow.
Go back to 2005. Okay, for them, we probably have. Okay, now, are there people that have wrestled with? But let me ask you this: was there a time where it was zero? Yeah, look at 1997.
Yeah.
Okay, so one could say, as a matter of fact, now there's another one. Scroll down a little bit further. So that they call those trends up. Now look at how much money, by the way. Okay, it's going to be in there. Keep scrolling down. Sorry, I think it's going to be one at the end. Okay, there's some influences. Oh, there's another influence. There's jazz. You can see it. Let's go down to scroll down to there. Okay, there's a 3 DSM. It'll be actually at the bottom. Okay, we'll cover those. The dark special interests that are feeding off the carcasses. Scroll all the way down to Fenway because I really want people to see right there. Okay, now. These are actually the referrals for transgender treatment. This is from Fenway's own material, their annual report that came out in 2017. You can look it up online. Their annual business report that they gave to their donors. Okay, so based upon their own numbers, prior to the year 2009, how many referrals to transgender treatment services were there? These are their own numbers. Let me ask, let's say we were to be able to pan the camera back. Let's say, so they first give us the numbers of 2003. So let's say we're going to pan the camera back. Let's go to the year 1950. I don't even know when Fenway started. What do you think that line, because we do know this, from 2008 going backward to 2003, it looks like, what would the referral number be? I believe that's called zero. So I think zero means there are no referrals. Do you think in 2002 it'd still be zero? 2001, 2000. So probably then the very first time they ever had a referral was in 2009. Would that be safe to assume?
How about the argument that, well, now we have some influencers that are encouraging and empowering.
It was always there. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's the only thing they can come up with. That you don't understand. It was always there under the surface, like a pimple or a volcano was building, and it never had a chance. And finally, they had a chance to be themselves, break free. Okay, I'll take that for a second. You mean to tell me, since there was never a reference in any textbook, in any of these theories, in any of the medical literature, that every professional prior to the year 2013 were so dense and so stupid that we didn't catch on, that this was really the truth. And we were actually blinded. And then we actually did harm, because if we missed this, this is big. How could we have been so dense and so naive and so ignorant. I've been in the field 30 years. How did I not see this? Well, I know it's my white privilege or my, oh, okay. Or this is a scam. And we've had really bright people in the field. So much so that, ready?
I don't know.
And here it is. Do we believe that biology 101 still exists?
I don't think you're allowed to.
That's a simple question. Right?
Accurate.
Do we think X, Y, and XX chromosomes changed? The other question is this: does it matter? It depends. Depends upon if we're in this to help people. Okay. Do you help people by helping them understand what is true, or by helping them drink Kool-Aid and swallow a delusion?
To feel
Which
better.
helps people?
So, yeah.
Okay. Last time I checked, you'll know the truth, and the truth will set you. We're either helping these kids into freedom, or we're causing them to believe and affirm a delusion that they will be stuck in for the rest of their lives, and having enriched very nefarious surgeons who happen to reframe the 9 key red flag clinical indicators of sexual trauma in one session prior to chopping off breasts. A lot of these surgeons, I have pictures, actually had to slice through pre-existing scars from self-injurious behaviors to remove the breasts. So we're doing insult to injury with these kids. Yet once they awaken out of the stupor, they now realize how badly they were used by the professionals they entrusted. Yet now these professionals do what? Deal with it, kid. Without porn and the DSM-5 making this profitable, the entire trans movement dries up and blows away to the numbers that we saw in 2005, which were 0. We have been sold a bill of goods, very effective strategy to flip the script, when in reality, the only people that benefit from this entire movement and the things that are going on, the only people that really benefit are financial and sexual predators. So I'm not anti any group. As a matter of fact, I'm the only psych staff in the US, according to the lead prosecutor that went after SCI Crescent, because I'm the only psych staff that blew the whistle on inmate abuse, and I stood up for a trans inmate. So I will protect anybody that's vulnerable, but I have no tolerance for people that are preying upon or making it easier in a willful sense. So I call them co-conspirators. And so anytime, what I tell people is this: we should want to know how better to protect women and children, because we all want to give people the benefit of the doubt. I'm not recommending we become jaded. I don't want people to become jaded. I want people to become discerning, because